What a start to the season the NL West has had. The San Diego Padres just lost their first game at home after a great start to their season, along with the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks. All four of those teams are well above the pace right now and would be leading divisions in the American League. Speaking of the American League, pretty much nobody is separating themselves from the pack. There are so many teams within a game or two of each other right now. There is seriously no team that you can point to and say they're a definitive favorite over the other because of X, Y, or Z. Rangers, their pitching was supposed to be their weak point going into the year after their injuries in the in spring training, has been the strong point of this team. The offense has been the trouble. Meanwhile, the Red Sox continue to be inconsistent. The Yankees' bats are great one day, absent another, back the next. Their pitching's absent the next after that. Orioles did not get off to a great start this year at all. Tigers got off to a rough start to the year, but have certainly seemed to at least steady their ship, but certainly haven't separated themselves from the pack, and the offense is expected to come back down to earth here over the next few weeks. But the point remains, nobody is separating themselves among a very difficult field in the American League. Last, we'll talk about the Sandy Alcantara trade, the possibility of that happening sooner rather than later. It's not going to happen today, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but it could very well happen earlier than expected during this MLB trade deadline season. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe, and let's dig into it. And welcome into the MLB Hot Stove Daily here at the Upside Sports Network. My name is Michael. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe on the video. The thumbs up does help us quite a bit. The hearts in the chat are wonderful. Love those in the chat as well. Please feel free to interact, but make sure you hit that like as well. Follow us on X at Upside Ascend and on Facebook, Upside Sports Network. We'll start on a positive note tonight anyway, and we'll talk a little bit about the NL West. Let me go ahead and pull up the records for you guys right now. Let me go ahead and refresh the page after San Diego just dropped their game. Let me see if they've updated it already on this page. Not yet, anyway. But the NL West, 14-4 now are the San Diego Padres. The Giants 12-5. Dodgers 12-6. They're currently playing against the Rockies. Diamondbacks 10-7. Just look at that 10-7 record, though. Let's look at the American League. Would they be top of the division in the NL or in the AL West? They'd be tied with the Rangers. They be tops in the AL Central? They'd be tied with the Tigers. Would they be tops in the AL East? They'd be tied with the Yankees and Blue Jays at the top of this division. Just goes to show you how well this division has performed. Are they going to continue to perform at this level? Probably not. John Heyman, though, does believe that this is probably the best division we've seen in years in Major League Baseball. I'm not ready to go that far. I do believe the Dodgers are by far the most talented team we've seen in over a decade at this point. But you look at the Padres, their pitching right now has really been their calling card. Their offense has been okay, but the pitching has really been the difference maker for them. Giants are going to have a little bit of a come to Jesus here, if you will, where they're going to have their numbers come back down to earth a little bit. Diamondbacks, for the team that's in fourth place, I think could actually perform a little bit better. Looking at their numbers anyway, their pitching has been the part that's really worried me going into the year so far. I thought they had a really strong pitching staff, but so far 76 runs allowed over 17 games anyway. Their pitching has been the part that's let them down. The offense has been good enough, but they need to get their ducks in a row at least on the pitching side of things. But again, look at that Padres pitching. Only 47 runs allowed. That's the reason why they're leading a very difficult division in the NL West. And if you're looking at me saying, hey, Mike, we were talking about the NL West all offseason, saying they were going to be the best division in all of baseball, even with the Dodgers taken into consideration. Even if you took them out of consideration, you'd still have three really viable playoff contenders here. No. We talked about them being teams that could be in the neighborhood of a playoff picture here. The Padres, I thought, would be a team that'd be selling here in the next couple of weeks. With the start they've gotten off to, I wonder if they convince the finance people there in San Diego to allow them to keep this team together rather than having to break it up at the trade deadline or earlier in order to kind of pinch a few pennies here. Giants are playing on house money right now. This was not supposed to be a great team this year. So far, they've gotten off to a great start here. But next year is where they're really going to go out there and spend in free agency. That's when they're going to really hit their stride as a team. For the Diamondbacks, I thought the pitching staff is going to be great this year. So far, that's been the one part of the team that could be a little bit better, especially with the additions that they made to their staff in Corbin Burns. This team should be better than it's been so far with that pitching staff. Offense has been significantly better than I thought it was going to be, but overall this division is a very good division top to bottom. Welcome in Holly, Heel, Anthony. Appreciate you guys coming back anyway and joining us here at the Upside. Heel, when it comes to American League, it's the same story, different day. Well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that American League. Rangers continue to have some struggles with their offense. Got lucky with some errors anyway committed by the Angels and were able to scratch across a couple of unearned runs in that game to kind of take back over the division lead. But nobody's really kind of seizing things in a very winnable AL West right now. AL Central is seen as a very gettable division as well, but the Tigers certainly are performing very well on the pitching side of things. Their offense should be coming back down to earth relatively quickly. The AL East, though, that's a little bit more of a mystifying thing with the Baltimore Orioles 6-10 to start the year. Pitching staff was supposed to at least be solid, give you a bunch of 2s, 3s, and 4s, guys that would at least keep you competitive in most games. But that's been the one part of the team that needs to get a little bit better. Additionally, their offense needs to get a little bit more run scoring there for them. For the Tampa Bay Rays, they've gotten off to a nice start here for them, better than what I thought they would be. But for them to be around 500 right now is a good spot for them. Red Sox, we knew they were going to have a very tough schedule coming out, but they've been very inconsistent here. Would like to see them get a little bit more consistent with their performance on the field day in and day out. Blue Jays off to a great start after getting that extension done with Vladdy. So they're kind of playing on house money right now, but they're all in on 2025. We'll see if they push the pedal down here in a month or two. New York Yankees, obviously the offense is what's carrying this team, but 80 runs allowed in 17 games. Not going to get it done with that pitching staff. They need to address that pitching staff sooner rather than later. Overall, like I said, it's literally just a logjam on the AL side of things. Top to bottom in the AL East, only 3.5 games difference. Top to bottom in the AL Central, even with the White Sox, only 5.5 games. AL West, top to bottom, only 3 games separating these teams. Things are still very, very close. It's early in the season, understandably, but this is going to be a logjam that's going to take a little bit of time to figure out here. Bats are going to have to get going for Texas if they're going to take over the supremacy that we expect there in the AL West. The Astros bats are starting to come to life here. The pitching kind of kept them through the first couple of weeks of the season. I think we're starting to see some of that pitching staff starting to falter around the edges a little bit. I think they will start getting their arms back here in the next month or so, and then they'll be a better team overall. But I'd say the Astros are off to a decent start to their year, even with the offensive issues they've had so far. Angels playing with house money so far. They're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I think they're a team that's going to be below 500 in that 70 to 75 win threshold at this point. Mariners just got through with a sweep at home against the Texas Rangers. No surprise there. The Rangers struggle out there in Seattle. But again, just the offense continuing to be the issue there, not getting enough across the scoreboard, and they dropped to 8-9 on the season. The Athletics win today. I believe they took the White Sox to task anyway. 12 runs scored in that game. They end up rising to 7-10. They're going to be in the cellar of this division, but overall, just so many teams that are just caught right in the middle here. They're going to have to start differentiating themselves here over the next couple of weeks, and we'll see where the cream does indeed rise. Rockies will make a comeback. Let's see. Let's check in on that scoreboard for that Rockies and Dodgers game. Looks like the Dodgers have now extended their lead and have bases loaded with Tommy Edman, who's 4 for 4 in the game. This thing could be broken open here. 6-2 is currently the advantage. Let's check in on a couple of the scores from around the league anyway. Nationals blank the Pirates 3-0. Reds continue their pretty good pitching start to their year anyway. 8-4 winners over the Mariners there. Diamondbacks continue to impress offensively, 10-4 winners in Miami. Giants drop a tough one anyway to the Philadelphia Phillies, 6-4. Guardians 6-3 over the Orioles. Orioles continue to struggle getting those runners across the plate and giving up too many runs to teams that have struggled with their offense here early. Red Sox get back in the win column, 7-4 win on the road anyway to Tampa. Yankees get back in the win column once again, 4-2 over the Royals. Braves lose on the road to the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays getting back into the win column anyway. Braves got off to that terrible start, but it seemed to have at least steadied themselves for the time being. Twins and Mets, Twins 6-3 winners there, but of course the news there is Carlos Correa ended up leaving with an injury. We'll see if he misses time, how much he misses, those kinds of things. Athletics 12-3 over the White Sox. Looks like Burke's strong start to their pitching, for their pitching staff anyway, not going so well at the moment there. Tigers offense silenced anyway by the Brewers pitching staff. A little bit surprising there. 5-0 the win there. In extras, the Cubs were able to pull it out on the road to the San Diego Padres, giving them their first loss of the season. Rangers were able to scratch across just enough runs anyway to get this victory, but Tyler Mahle was absolutely dominant in his win today. Look at that ERA. First start did not go well for him, did not have much command, gave up 2 hits and 4 walks in an inning and 2/3. Ever since then, he has been dominant at .92 ERA. Rangers are very happy to have him in the fold there. And the Astros blanked the Cardinals on the road in St. Louis, 2-0 there. Hunter Brown continuing to showcase his abilities and rise as a possible ace of the future for the Houston Astros. I'm curious to see how these teams respond over the next couple of weeks if the Rangers get their offense going. If they don't, if they shake up the roster a little bit with Peterson, Berger, Simeon, among others that are struggling with their offense. Astros, if their pitching continues to falter a little bit over the next couple of weeks, will they go out there and add at the trade deadline to that starting pitching? We knew they were going to be looking for some outfield help at the deadline on the cheap there. We'll see if they add some starting pitching if the starting pitching starts to come apart at the seams as the season goes along. Cubs, great offensive start here. Pitching staff pitched well today, but they're going to have to get more performances like this in order to win more games in a difficult but winnable NL Central. He'll look at the Mariners' runs allowed and runs scored. It looks like they're playing ping pong or something. Pretty much. Let's go ahead and look at them just to kind of recap here. 73 runs allowed, 65 runs scored, just not enough. But look at the team that's winning the division. It's the Rangers with a full 10 runs less scored. With a negative run differential, they're winning the division. Tells you how bad the offense has been down there in Texas. All right, let's see here. Holly was at the game. Molly was so good. Well, I'm glad you got to enjoy it, my friend. Appreciate you joining us once again. Molly's been really good, though. How did Miami do tonight? They ultimately lost. I believe we saw 10-4 with the Diamondback coming to town and laying a whipping on them. Like I told people, the Astros pitching is so underrated. Imagine when their offense wakes up. It's underrated, yes, but they have the depth there to at least be able to weather the storm for now. But it's inexperienced depth, and that experience is going to start to matter here in the next month or so. If they're still having to rely on those guys, that pitching is going to get exposed. Now, the offense is going to take a little bit of a hit from where it was last year, but it's still a good offensive team. I just have my questions about how good it ultimately is when you add all the pieces up together. Overall, I think the American League, like I said, complete logjam. NL West is where the bright spot is in the early part of the season. The one story I did want to touch on is all the reports about a Sandy Alcantara trade. Now, of course, we talked about this ad nauseum over the offseason. You're going to hear me talk about it a ton here before we get to the MLB trade deadline. Alcantara is going to be the most sought-after starting pitcher. He's not on an expiring deal. He has 3 years of control, well, 2.5 anyway, when you trade for him at the deadline. But he's going to command a hefty package. Think of the package Cole Hamels brought for the Philadelphia Phillies. I would expect something in that neighborhood, maybe a little bit more, in order to bring him in. It's going to cost you a few blue chip prospects and then some. He is a very good starting pitcher, quite possibly one of the very best top 5, top 10 starters in the game. And those guys don't just grow on trees. So you're going to have to pony up something here in order to bring him in. Now, the Cubs, of course, losing Justin Steele to an elbow injury out for the rest of the year, are going to be a little bit more anxious than most teams to try to get this deal done earlier rather than later. I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen here in the month of April. I doubt it happens in May. At the earliest, I would say late June is the most likely time for Alcantara to go. Otherwise, I'd say probably about a week before the deadline is when we see a Sandy Alcantara trade. Now, remember, Marlins are looking to trade a lot of guys out of that rotation as we get closer to the trade deadline. If they go ahead and trade Sandy Alcantara, say, a few weeks early, that would allow them to get the trade talk discussions going on all the rest of their guys and try to maximize the return that they get for their farm system. Remember, they're looking for position players no higher than Double-A that are nowhere close to being Major League ready, that are still blue chip guys, or at least guys that have a future there. So kind of keep that in mind anyway as far as the trade proposals that you might be thinking of your favorite team sending out there to Miami to be able to bring in Sandy Alcantara. Do you have position players that are below 20 years old, blue chip guys that are going to be able to headline a package for Sandy Alcantara? If not, then you're probably going to have to move on to the other starting pitchers in this year's trade market. Dylan Cease could still be had, I think, at least for the time being. They're a good team, but we'll see if they have a rough stretch here to where that name once again becomes a little bit more popular. But there's going to be a ton of arms that are available at the deadline. I don't think anybody will be as good as Sandy Alcantara, so he certainly will be the belle of this year's ball. All right, appreciate you guys joining us. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. We're going to keep it kind of short and sweet tonight. We'll go ahead and do 1 or 2 trades here with Sandy Alcantara with some out-of-the-box teams that could be looking for some starting pitching here. But tomorrow night, we'll get into our MLB power rankings. We'll update those late tomorrow night. But appreciate you guys joining us this evening. I told my Astros Discord I don't like Pena hitting in the 5th hole. We need someone to hit in front of Walker or behind him. That lineup construction still is a little bit of a work in progress with the departures of Bregman and Tucker this offseason, bringing in Walker, bringing in Paredes. They were going to have a rough time figuring out how to structure this thing together. They will get it. I do think they'll add somebody to that outfield mix, whether it be a waiver claim or a small level trade. That way they can keep it underneath the tax threshold anyway. But they're still a very good team out there in Houston. They will get it figured out as far as that offense is concerned. Now, let's go ahead and pull up the MLB trade, baseballtradevalues.com. We're going to go ahead and do a couple more trades here before we wrap up for the evening about teams that might be surprises for Sandy Alcantara. Blue Jays off to a decent start here to start the year. Do they have the pieces that could be a great fit? Remember, we're looking for guys that are 20 or under. So you're going to have to include Namala. You're going to have to include Maraudis. Does that get us anywhere close with the top 2 pieces being those 2 there? I would say not. Blue Jays you can go ahead and cross off as far as a team that's not going to be able to bring him in. Let's do, say, the Chicago Cubs. Do they have the pieces to be able to get this deal done? Well, I would say they have to get this deal done if they're trying to win in 2025. Otherwise, I believe the Mets are a better team. I believe the Phillies are a better team. I know the Dodgers are a better team. Padres are probably a better team right now as well, but we'll see once we get to the trade deadline if they're still a better team at that point. But overall, looking at the Cubs here, what could their offer be for a Sandy Alcantara? They don't really have anybody until you get to Balestros. Let's go ahead and throw him into this deal. Rojas could be your second piece here. Melendez. And is that enough to get you anywhere close? Not even close. You're going to have to include a third team to take on some of these older MLB-ready prospects in order to get the deal done. All right, let's go ahead and do one last team here. I want to do a successful one. Let's say, I doubt they would trade him to the Phillies. Who could use some pitching? Let's go ahead and look at the Red Sox. Say if they want to continue to add to their starting pitching here. They could do Roman Anthony. I don't think they would do that. I think he's a little bit too high of a value right now. Christian Campbell, of course, locked up long term. You ain't getting rid of him. Marcelo Mayer, a little bit too old, almost MLB ready. They want guys that are not ready for that yet. So the first guy that they could include is Franklin Arias. Miguel Blay. Yoelin Cespedes could be your next guy. And then Mikey Romero. Let's take a look. So you get 4 prospects in exchange for Sandy Alcantara, and we're still 10 away. So the Red Sox would probably need a little bit of help here to get another prospect or 2, or at least get the Marlins interested in a guy that's on the Major League roster that still has some value that maybe they could turn around and trade as well. So that's another possibility that could happen. But I think the Red Sox straight up here are a little bit of a tough sell. All right, I want to do a successful one, though. We've already done the Dodgers as a successful team for this trade here. Tigers, they have the pitching already. They're not going to do a trade like this. The Yankees could be a team that goes after this type of a trade, but again, Lombard would have to be the headliner of this deal, I believe, and then you get a little bit more interesting. Arias could be another piece in this deal. Lalane could be a nice piece in this deal, but it's a starting pitcher. Perez, let's see how close we get with Perez. 41, so again, there'd be another team that have to include another piece or 2 in this deal or figure out another deal with another team. Let's go ahead and do one at the top here. Let's see. Let's say the Brewers just want to, push things to the metal here. They've never really done that before, but let's say they wanted to do so. Could they be a fit? They could include Pratt here. They could include Batoni. They have some decent pieces that could be nice fits in a trade for this caliber. I just don't think they would have the stomach for this type of a deal, but they could be an interesting surprise team that we might find out later down the line that wasn't also ran in this competition. Dodgers seem to be the best fit, though, and that's where we may ultimately end up here. Mariners have plenty of pitching here. Mets need some starting pitching. Let's go ahead and do one here. Let's say they finally decide to get rid of Jet Williams in this deal because of how good he is. And this is in division, so you're going to have to pay a little bit extra here of a premium. So Baez probably be one of your best pieces in this deal as well as Rodriguez. How close are we after those 3 pieces? 51, I think if you include one more decent piece, you could probably get this deal done. Say like a Boston Barrow. Little bit of an overpay, but I don't think that would matter in this type of a deal. Let's post it. So there's your return for Sandy Alcantara if you were to trade him to the Mets in division. You get a blue chipper in Williams and Baez. You get a really good one there in Rodriguez and someone to hope for in Barrow. Would I do this trade? Probably not. I would still lean towards the Dodgers trade we did a few days ago. Morales, Vargas, Hope, and another piece. I can't remember the last one there, but that would be the package I think would overwhelm the Marlins to be able to get that type of return in exchange for him. George, welcome back. Sandy Alcantara would look great in a Giants uniform. Giants could put Hicks in the bullpen, and Sandy would be the Giants' ace. I would agree with you there on all those fronts. The only question is, would they do this via trade, or would they try to add somebody via free agency since they're going to have all kinds of money to spend? Once again, once they get to the once they get to the off season. I think that could be their best way to go, to try to utilize their financial resources rather than gutting what's left of their farm system right now. But I'd still say that Sandy Alcantara being the best, most attractive trade target on the market, that he'll probably end up with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think the Astros getting Ryan McMahon would be fantastic. Or Brenton Doyle. Can you check their value before you get off, please? Sure, I can go ahead and do that real quick. So, let's go ahead and look up the Rockies here. Rockies are definitely sellers. They already sold some pieces off of their Major League club. All right, so you asked for Doyle and McMahon. Doyle at 20, McMahon. Thought he's a little bit lower nowadays. His value is at negative 20. Do I think they would just take or trade both of them to Houston and be able to get that deal done? No. I don't think the money would work out for them either. This would be a team that would have to eat a lot of the money they're going for Ryan McMahon, and they did that already in the Nolan Arenado deal. I don't think they'd have the stomach to do it again, but I get your point. This would certainly be a couple of nice upgrades for that Astros team. Anthony, I think the Dodgers are the best matchup, to be honest. Absolutely. We just talked about that before. Morales, Vargas, Hope, and another piece. Do you think the Rangers could be a nice team for him? I don't think so. I think they're happy with their pitching right now, and I think they'll address the long-term needs of their staff in the offseason. Right now, I think they're focused on just adding what they need to try to compete this year. And while saying the Alcantara would be a great ace at the starting staff, their issue right now is offense. They will add some starting pitching here, and I think they'll go more of a depth approach here rather than top-end talent, but we shall see. Honestly, you think the Rangers would fit really well with the Marlins and they could give them what they want? Unless they're giving up Sebastian Walcott, they really don't fit very well, and I don't think they move Sebastian Walcott in any deal. Now, if you're willing to offer up, say, I don't know, Aaron Judge in exchange for Sebastian Walcott, obviously you do that type of a trade, but nobody's offering that. Even Sandy Alcantara, with a similar trade value, I think the Rangers would value the presence of Sebastian Walcott for the future of their organization more than what Sandy Alcantara could mean for them this postseason and the two postseasons thereafter. I'm pretty sure they'd be confident in what they could be able to get a deal done to extend him. But I think the Rangers would be looking to go out in free agency rather than having to give up pieces out of their farm system just to be able to add some starting pitching now at that type of a level. Would they love to do it? Absolutely. But I think they'll go a little bit cheaper here and save themselves a little bit of prospect capital and see what they can be able to, or see if they can save that money, at least for the trade deadline, for some offense and add some pieces to that rotation, and whatever's left in the offseason, they'll figure it out at that point as well. Do the Phillies have a deep enough farm system for a trade for Sandy? They do not. They have the pieces, sure, but their rotation's still pretty good. They have the depth right now. They don't need to do a trade like that. So to kind of answer your question, we'll show the values of what they're working with right now. First guy you get to is, well, you're already out of the, let me get to the minor side of things here. Whoops. Okay, so first guy you could do is Aiden Miller. I don't think they would do that one. You get down to Eduardo Tate. I think they could do something like that. So your trade would start there. You could do Crawford. That gets you to about 30. Your next piece would be a Chase. I don't think they would do that. They want position players. You could do a Burkholder, but you're still nowhere close to the Sandy Alcantara. You traded for Bryce. I don't think that would happen, though. Can you make a trade for just Doyle to the Astros? I can do that one. That'll be the last one we do for the evening, and then we'll do the power rankings tomorrow night, and we'll do some trade stuff on Thursday, I believe. So you want Doyle going to the Astros. Well, he's not making much money, so he does help out from that perspective, so good there. So what would the Astros have to give up for round 20 here? I don't think they'd give anybody off of that Major League roster, but they could do a Melton here. I don't think they'd like to do that, though. I think they'd like to keep Matthews and Melton. They just signed not Zach Wheeler, Walker, the first baseman, anyway. So you could do like a DeZenzo. You could do like a Janik to help them out behind the plate. How close are we there? We're about 20 and 20. I think they could do another small piece, say like Luis Baez, who has some future potential as well. There's your deal. Rockies pin their hopes to DeZenzo and Baez, with Janik as kind of a hopeful catcher for them. Would they do this trade? Probably not. If I'm the Rockies, I would rather see the future of Doyle there. For the Astros, they need better production out of the out of the outfield, and that would certainly help them to accomplish that. Anthony, this is why I don't get teams like the Phillies or Rangers, who are consistently competing for playoff spots and have the finances to sign big-time free agents, are not going to need top prospects. Well, you got to remember that they're trying to look at the long game and the short game. Currently, they have enough pieces in their rotation to be able to compete right now. Would Sandy Alcantara help them? Absolutely. Would he be the difference maker for them winning a World Series versus not? Very well could be. But I think the Rangers are very happy with where their roster construction is at for now. But at the trade deadline, we'll see if that examination does change. As far as the Phillies, they're kind of locked into the roster they have right now. They have enough starting rotation pieces right now that they don't need to go out there and add some more. Their pitching has been decent so far, but we'll see if we'll see if they can shake off the experiences from past Octobers and be able to get the monkey off their back, as you would say. All right, appreciate you guys joining us. Hit that thumbs up at the bottom of the video. Hit that subscribe button as well. If you'd like to join us, we'll be live again tomorrow night with our MLB Power Rankings. Follow us on X at UpsideSN and on Facebook, Upside Sports Network as well. Appreciate you guys joining us this evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow around 11 o'clock. Stay safe out there, everybody.